Women have played functional roles and assumed responsibilities in combat operations over time. On the African battlefields, examples of such women of war abound, where women form more than 30% of the fighting force. Female soldiers played key roles during the Algerian Revolution against colonial France. Fatima Ajon of Niger Military Hospital was promoted to general and became first woman in Algerian People's National Army, as well as Africa, to attain that rank. In Nigeria, history will not forget Queen Amina of Zazzau. She is the subject of many legends and believed by historians to have been a real ruler who led men to many victorious wars. The Armed Forces of Nigeria has always had some women in the three services who have participated in both internal and external military operations in the restoration of peace to conflict zones. However, their duties were mostly limited to non-combat roles such as medical, education, and administration, where they served as doctors, nurses, and allied medical support services, as well as teachers. Over the years, however, the Armed Forces has witnessed a gradual involvement of women into combat and core combat support roles, especially in the Nigerian Air Force. This documentary focuses on the growing role of these Nigerian Air Force women of war in operations with a view to highlighting their contributions to the peace, security, and development of the Nigerian nation. Over the years, the Nigerian Air Force has produced prominent female officers and airwomen who have contributed immensely to the peace within Nigeria as well as in the African continent. However, as the late United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan stated, women combatants are often invisible, leading to the obliteration of their vital roles. Things have, however, changed since the incumbent leadership of the Nigerian Air Force came on board 3 years ago. Within this period, the role of women in the Nigerian Air Force has become overwhelmingly evident. The reason, among others, is the increasing opportunities given to women in various specialties to express their potentials under the leadership of Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar.
The Air Force is a gender-sensitive service. In other words, opportunities are given to both females and males. And we believe that everybody has the right, to be given the opportunity to follow his dream or her dream. It has nothing to do with what your gender is. What is important to the service is productivity. Are you productive? Are you adding value to what we are doing? Are you showing the required diligence and hard work that will move the service to the next level?
When we joined, it was restricted only to medical, catering, and not even admin. We had a pharmacist. Those are the classes of trades we had in professions we had in the Air Force then.
Well, maybe if I had opportunity to go to another field then, possibly I could have accepted. But when we joined, the options we had were actually education, information, medicals, and quite few. We weren't given many options, really.
The contributions of women have moved exponentially from the education and medical fields to core functions in areas such as the regiment specialty and combat support services.
It gladdened my heart because it is, let me say this, the Air Force gave us an opportunity to develop ourselves, to find out who we are, what we can do and what we cannot do. And let me say, maybe I can say the sky was the limit. As long as we are able to study, to work hard, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve within your profession at that time. But now it's even more.
It shows that we're developing. It shows that we're moving beyond our myopic thinking, what a man can do, a woman will not do or do very well. We're showing ourselves that we're capable, and if given the right opportunity and the right atmosphere, we can also do as good as the men are doing.
The Nigerian Air Force has many sensitive operational fields where before now, only men were trusted to function. However, the women are today gradually finding their place and carving a niche for themselves in these areas of specialty.
On inspection tours, I have seen quite a number of female personnel that are working in very difficult conditions, participating to maintain our aircraft and make sure that our airplanes are ready for mission. The reactivation of the Mi-35P in Port Harcourt, during my visit, I saw quite a number of female personnel that are participating very actively in terms of dismantling and assembling of engines and putting back components of the helicopter. And I think I was really excited and very happy. Similarly, in Yola, if you go there, in Kainji, you see female personnel working hand in hand with their male counterparts.
Before the inception of the current leadership of the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, the Nigerian Air Force had witnessed a manpower gap in its operations. Accordingly, in line with his vision to reposition the Nigerian Air Force into a highly professional and disciplined fighting force through capacity building initiatives, the Chief of the Air Staff embarked on an aggressive recruitment drive and also commenced robust and result-oriented training as part of this repositioning process. The massive recruitments were conducted with no discrimination with respect to gender, as both males and females were given equal opportunities.
The recruitment has not been discriminatory. It has covered both sex, both male and female. And in major combat specialties like the armament, we are privileged within its tenure to have a large chunk of female personnel, both as airwomen, as officers, coming into the specialty.
Massive training of the personnel at all levels and trades for men and women has continued unabated since the last 3 years. Today in the service, female personnel are found in more areas doing excellently well on the job than before. We shall highlight a few of these personnel in active operational areas of the Nigerian Air Force.
So we have a couple of the female personnel that are in the base ops, in the operational support wing of the unit. They're the ones that brief us about how the weather is going to be, what our environment is going to be, what the envelope we're going to fly into, what we expect, and then it helps us also to plan as operations personnel on how we're going to conduct our mission. So right from the word go, we have it.
The Nigerian Air Force is a highly technical service, and so the aircraft engineering professionals are required to be top-notch in terms of service delivery to ensure serviceability of the platforms. This area has witnessed growth in the involvement of female personnel in the last 3 years.
Using 631 Aircraft Maintenance Depot as an example, they have contributed as equally as what the men have done. They are well trained. Just as you have seen at the hangar, they equally carry out maintenance on the C-130 aircraft.
They have not performed less than the men. In every task we have given them, they have performed to the best of their ability, and we are confident that what they have done is good enough for us.
Obviously, you've seen them doing some work on the aircraft. You saw some of them recovering us as we landed in here just now, and they are participating in our activities very much. So that is practical. You can see that they are doing the job that they are meant to do.
I have been trained in the Air Force as an aircraft engineer. I have gone to AFIT. I've done my postgraduate diploma in aerospace engineering. I have been type-rated on the C-130, and I've also been given the opportunity to go to China to study aircraft maintenance engineering, of which I did my best, and I came out as the best overall when I went to China. And since then, I've been giving out my best in the Air Force.
The armament specialty of the Nigerian Air Force, like other specialties, has also recorded the advent of several female officers and airwomen who are today arming the fighter aircraft along with their male counterparts.
Our major task is preparing stores and arming the aircraft with these stores, and where they are not expended, they arming the aircraft. In doing this, our officers and men partake, and since female personnel, both as officers and airwomen, are recruited, they actively participate in all these functions, and they have been doing excellently well so far.
I prefer armament because that's what I read. I read chemical engineering. So the only place where I can practice that which I read in the university is armament.
We have a few women around, and it's not actually easy because you have to work double hard to prove yourself.
Worthy of special mention is the female loadmaster on the C-130 Hercules aircraft, who has proven herself amongst men in a very challenging task of balancing the weight of the cargo.
We have a loadmaster, as I said, the only female C-130 crew up till today. Although we're making if others show interest, because it's not a profession that you should push people.
The importance of the loadmaster on the C-130 aircraft cannot be overemphasized.
When I first got to the unit, I met my colleagues doing the job, so I kind of developed interest on the job, the way they do their things, how they organize stuff, and it's a very challenging course. So I felt if they can do it, why not? I should also give it a try.
Another worthy mention is a female officer at the Air Force Institute of Technology, doing the service proud in her area of specialty.
I have one lady who is an excellent officer, a very resourceful female officer, Flight Lieutenant Ufodile. She has a PhD in control engineering, and we found her to be extremely valuable to the unit.
She has contributed significantly to our development of this Egumi UAV, and she's there as well, doing excellently well. So we're looking forward to a very bright future for female personnel.
Air traffic control is an important part of aviation, and the Nigerian Air Force air operations depend on it largely for in- and outbound flights. This area is also dominated by the male personnel in the service, but at the moment, a female officer is an air traffic control officer (ATCO), and some air women have been trained as air traffic control assistant (ATCAs) and are bridging the manpower gap witnessed in this specialty in the past.
I did not do air traffic control before I joined the Air Force. I was initially of geography and meteorology, which is also in aviation. But after joining the service, it was the service that now trained me to become an air traffic controller.
When the aircraft are serviceable, there is need for the pilots to fly them for operations. In the last 3 years, the Nigerian Air Force has witnessed significant growth in the number of pilots winged on the various platforms, 91 to be precise. The females are not left out of this core area of the service. Today in the service, there are female pilots flying missions and adding value in their various units.
Here in the fleet, I have one female pilot, Flight Lieutenant Liman. Incidentally, she is the first female pilot in the Air Force, and we have had her here in the fleet for about 7 years. She's currently rated on the Falcon 7X airplane, which is one of the most advanced in terms of performance and complexity. And she's also rated on the Challenger 605, which is also a very high performance airplane. and she has been doing excellently well. She's doing very, very well.
For me, as a flight lieutenant and as a pilot in the NAF, I've been trained in one of the best airplanes in the world. And the Chief of the Air Staff is really particular about females in the NAF. He has provided enrichment courses to make sure that we don't just fly, we fly safe.
We have them as air traffic controllers, we have them as engineers and technicians, we have women in the intelligence, and we also have women among the cabin crew. Yeah, so they participate in all the aspects of the operations in this unit. And they are doing exceptionally well, especially the air traffic controllers and the pilots. We also have student pilots here that are female, and they're doing exceptionally well.
Oh, flying is a very interesting experience. It gives you a perspective that you can't get on the ground. And for me, that's one of the things I like very much about flying.
These women of war are not unaware of the numerous challenges faced by the female in a male-dominated service and are very appreciative of the leadership of the Nigerian Air Force for the opportunity given them to express themselves and contribute their quota to the growth of the Nigerian Air Force and the Nigerian military in general.
For me, I want to say thank you to the Chief of Air Staff. Without him, we wouldn't be where we are. I'm really grateful and I'm happy that I have the opportunity to fly, and really happy that they are allowing women.
I want to thank the Chief of the Air Staff for giving us the opportunity as women to join the engineering crew.
It's been really interesting to see that the present Chief of the Air Staff has really encouraged women folk in especially technical areas by, giving a lot of them training in those technical areas, engineering areas, science-based areas, and more women are beginning to get interested and get involved in these areas.
Today, for the first time in the history of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, Nigerian Air Force female pilots are engaged in flying ISR missions within the theater of operation. And in no distant time, the Nigerian Air Force will produce the first female fighter pilot. This in itself is a product of the Chief of the Air Staff's vision to reposition the Nigerian Air Force into a highly professional and disciplined fighting force through capacity building initiative. In line with that vision, Flying Officer Kafayat Omolara Sani is currently undergoing the undergraduate pilot training in the United States of America. After her graduation, Flying Officer Sani will become the first female fighter pilot in the Nigerian Air Force.
She worked hard. She was about the first person probably to go on solo in Kaduna, and she has been consistently working hard, until she graduated as the best all-round in flying. So similarly, the female officer we have in South Africa that is doing helicopter training has also done excellently well in her ab initio training. And so our desire is to ensure that we provide equal opportunities for both males and females in the service. And I think we have laid that foundation, and we are reaping from that foundation. So many of the female personnel are doing excellently well in different theaters of operation, and similarly quite a number of them are flying in different units. The ATR 42, you also have a female pilot that spends hours conducting ISR, intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance missions in the Northeast in order to support her male counterparts and also support the desire of the federal government to have a secured country. So that will continue, I believe, and from the benefits we are deriving from that policy, obviously, there's absolutely no reason why we should stop female personnel from participating in these activities.
I'm very glad that Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, has awarded me with this opportunity based on my last performance in the 401 Flying Training School, Kaduna, as coming out as the best in flying student pilots. I'm aware of how tough it is to put a female in combat So I really appreciate and I say thank you to everyone and a big thank you to the Chief of the Air Staff. Thank you, sir.
Another area of the service that before now had only men is the regiment specialty. Today, females are found participating actively and effectively in the regiment of the Nigerian Air Force. Some have made it into the elite Nigerian Air Force Special Operations Force and are currently deployed to conflict zones across the country.
As the BSG commander, one of my primary responsibilities is to ensure the defense of the base. And in my base defense plan, I found out that the women are extremely reliable. One thing about them is that they hardly assume. They don't assume at all. Once a task is given to them, they execute it to the letter.
The female officer I have here, who is doing very well in my assessment, Flight Lieutenant Chankat. Though she is attached to Operation Safe Haven, but even there, she do send us a report timely. And from my last visit, I was with Major General Lagundu. And he spoke very, very well of her. He spoke highly of her performance in the field and other things. So in my assessment, they are doing very well. It's a worthwhile venture.
I joined the Air Force to be combatant before I went to the intelligence, and then I was lucky and fortunate, got to see the Chief of Air Staff, to come to the regiment and then to Special Force. And so it is an opportunity. I feel so fulfilled on earth doing this. It has prepared me to be ready to sacrifice my life, my energy and everything for my nation, at least contributing my quota to the service and to the nation.
Apart from having the zeal of being a soldier, I was born in a military family. My dad was an infantry soldier. He's a fighter, and I see myself that one day I will be there. I will lead a team of squad where a man is supposed to be, because I know I have the strength and the determination.
The first female air police officer has proven herself on the job over the years. And as it is with the Nigerian Air Force, she has been given equal opportunities that has enabled her to excel on the job.
I am a proud Air Provost officer, and I've never regretted being part of this noble specialty. I have been opportune to work with superiors, contemporaries, and subordinates who have always given the enabling environments for me to be able to effectively carry out my duties. And by God's grace, I've been able to prove my worth.
The Nigerian Air Force K9 unit also has female dog handlers performing excellently well on the job.
I have 4 female in my wing, and their performance have been above average, and they've actually proven to me that they can do better. I rely very much on them.
I will have to thank the Nigerian Air Force for giving me the opportunity to be among the ladies in the K9 unit.
No ceremonial parade would be complete without the regimental band, and no regimental band would be complete without a bandmaster and a drum major. The Nigerian Air Force has a rare instance in Kaduna, where both the bandmaster and drum major of the regimental band at Headquarters Air Training Command are both females. Corporal Christiana Ibrahim is the first and only female drum major in the Nigerian Air Force and has participated in several parades at command and service level, constantly demonstrating she can do just as well as her male counterparts. These laudable achievements of the female personnel of the Nigerian Air Force in the various trades are too numerous to cover in this documentary. This could not have been possible without the support of the leadership of the Nigerian Air Force, and most especially the federal government of Nigeria.
The environment created by the federal government, and I believe that what we are simply doing is to do what we think is right, which is to give the opportunity to all personnel to apply themselves for the benefit of the Air Force. So the environment is not only Nigerian, but it's global. And what the Air Force is simply doing is to key into that global environment or global policies that allow every human being, that gives every human being the opportunity to live his or her dream and work hard to excel, which is the most important thing. And I think in our own case here in the Air Force, so many of our female personnel are doing excellently well.
From all indications, the Nigerian Air Force women of war, alongside their male counterparts, are set to take the service to the next level of greatness in the timely employment of air power in furtherance of Nigeria's national security imperatives. The Nigerian Air Force, willing, able, and ready.